Binkerbelle's Yarning. So those of you that have been following know that my Darn Good Yarn recent order has come in. I got the yarn kit, the subscription kit. But I also got some for my next order. So we're gonna actually take a closer look at that. I received 4 different types of yarn. I got the Catalina, right, which is a 50% merino, 24% silk, 12% cashmere, and 14% kid mohair. And that is 265 to 290 yards, and it is a hand dyed. So that's this here. Now, they do come in hanks or braids, whichever, however you want to describe them. I did roll it. Took me forever because I really suck at rolling from hanks, and I don't have a lazy Kate or a ball winder. So I do it by hand, which is always fun, right? So I ended up with a huge tangled mess, like always. Doesn't matter what hank or braid I roll into balls, I end up with a giant tangled mess, and I spend hours undoing it. But that's my problem. I just suck at it. So the 2 hanks that I got were actually so very different, and yet so very much the same. So the material is very much the same. It is a hand-tied combination of those materials, so each strand is one of the materials, as opposed to being a composition of all 4, as you would in a novelty yarn. Now, this would still be classed as a novelty yarn because it is a composition of multiple types of materials that are hand-tied together. So every now and then, at the end of a length, there is a knot linking the 2 materials together. This particular one here had more of the thicker materials than the thinner materials. So there was more of the silk than there was of the other materials. I don't even really know how to describe it. It is such an interesting material combination. It is a consistent color, so it does stay in the creams. I don't know how well you can see that. My lights aren't the greatest in here yet. That's better. So they are all cream colored. Some of them are a little bit darker, some of them a little bit lighter. It all depends on the actual particular material and the saturation. But I found it really, really interesting in that all of the materials themselves have their own feeling, but not any of them being unpleasant. They're all very soft, very, very pliable, very nice to touch, very nice to play with. It does not list on the label the weight that this is, but it does recommend a 3.75 to a 4.5 millimeter needle. So it's a 5 to a number 7. So I would generally use, they say to go down. Some people say go down in hook size, some people say to go up in hook size. I basically choose my hooks based on how the material feels and how the material looks. So in my opinion, this is a DK weight. It is on the smaller side of a DK weight. You could go with a lace weight because some of them are quite thin, but I will be using a 4 millimeter hook with this. It is quite beautiful, actually. It does snag because of the types of materials, and your mohairs and your kid mohairs are going to stick. Same thing with some of your merinos. Depending on how well it's spun, they will stick together, and the cashmere definitely does. So the cashmere is that soft, furry looking stuff. It will stick together, which means that when you're pulling out stitches, it will probably snag. I do not foresee this splitting, which is nice. I hate when yarn splits. It just drives me completely bonkers. But yeah, it's definitely going to crochet nicely. It's definitely going to knit nicely. It's going to knit beautifully. This particular one I'll be doing a crochet project with. So this is a definite yes. I love this stuff. Next is the banana fiber. So I know a couple of you commented on my unboxing that you've never seen banana fibers. So there are actually so many different fibers out there that you can use in yarn arts. If it can be carded and spun, you can use it. So you see bamboo on the market, you see cotton on the market, there's the banana fibers on the market, you can get eucalyptus. If the plant can be fibered, so turned into relatively reasonable lengths of fiber, then it can be carded and it can be spun. So we'll actually get more into that when we dive into our talks about spinning, which I'm hoping will come up soon. There's a company in the UK that you can actually buy bats of different fibers, which is fantastic. And they sell them at $1 a sample, so I'll be getting some of those samples in. So you can actually take a look at the really unusual fibers that are out there. So banana fiber, my goodness, I have honestly never felt anything softer. The only thing that I would possibly compare this to is Angora. And Angora, for those of you that have felt it, know that is the softest, most luscious fiber on the market. Like, I could sleep in Angora and be quite happy. This is very close in comparison to softness. It is, again, it came in a braid. This one wasn't so bad when it came to rolling into a ball, simply because there's less of it and it's a thicker fiber. But again, because of the nature of the fiber itself, it does stick in the initial rolling. It's gonna definitely crochet up beautifully, and it will certainly knit beautifully. It'll knit gorgeous, and so soft. But pulling it out for a frogging will definitely stick. It won't split just because of the way that it's been spun. It's a twist spin, right? So that the fibers are actually twisted as they're being spun. So that means you twist the fibers like this as it's being spun into onto the wheel or onto whatever it is that you're spinning it onto. So definitely a good. Now, I wouldn't do an entire project in this just because I honestly think it would be too much. But as accents, for sure, absolutely, I'm actually going to be using it as an accent. So that's the banana fago. Here is the recycled silk. Now this is a worsted weight yarn, right? It's set in a center pull, but it's a very tight center pull. Ooh, if I can get the middle out here. Probably should have done this ahead of time. Anyway, let's see if I can find an end. There we go. So, very similar spinning to the banana fiber in that it's twisted as it's spun. All right, and you can see there's all kinds of different colors of strands and whatnot. So what they've done is they've taken silk garments, shred it down and spin it up. Okay, they probably also took leftovers from milling, like fibers that didn't make it into garments during the milling process, and spun them together. It's a great way to reduce the carbon footprint. It's a great way to save product from landfill, and that's one of the great things about Darn Good Yarns is they find ways to reduce everybody's carbon footprint, to reduce the amount going into landfills, as well as their project in employing people in sustainable, gainable jobs, and providing self-sustainability and benefits to keep them well and happy. So if you can always check out my Darn Good Yarn Fiber Friday. I'll post the link of it into the description at the bottom there. So I will also post a link to these particular products, right? Yeah. So again, I am extremely happy with my Darn Good Yarn order. I have yet to be disappointed, to be completely honest with you. I absolutely love this company. It's fantastic. If you're interested in getting any of these or anything else, they do have yarn bowls, they have yarn organizers, they have hooks, they have needles, they have beads, they have all kinds of stuff. I usually 2 to 3 times a month, plus my subscription boxes, I do post about Darn Good Yarn, so keep an eye on that. Every time that you place an order, you can use binkerbelles_yarning15, all caps, to get 15% off your entire order, which is always fun. I mean, who doesn't love saving money, right? So, darn good yarn, wonderful fibers, and we'll see you later.